Hello everyone, my name is Professor Dr. Muhammad Tajuddin, and today I would like to make some commentary on the title, Who Should We Fear the Most? Politician-Cleric, Cult Leader, or the Mufti? Now this issue or this topic comes about with our recent discussion and discourse on the Mufti Bill, which is now being debated in Parliament, and many people seems to be very frightened about it. The questions or the concerns are such things like, will the Mufti be an all-powerful individual? Because some people are saying that they will become all-powerful. Then, will this Mufti, with being all-powerful, will he change, or will he change this our democracy as well as our way of life? This is, of course, a real concern. But activists who are saying things against the Mufti bill, are they saying it because it's realistically frightening, or is it just spooking the nation for their own interests? This is also another question that we need to look at. And finally, the most important question here is that, should we be afraid of the Mufti, or should we be afraid of the politician-cleric? And should we be afraid of cult leaders? Now, what is a politician-cleric? A politician-cleric is a politician who is also a religious scholar or a cleric that people listen to for his fatwa as well as his religious ideas, but he is also a politician sitting in Parliament. His party is based on religion. That's a politician-cleric. Should we be frightened of this person or the Mufti? Then we have cult leaders, like now we see the GISBH. That is a cult leader. Now, which is stronger in influence? Is it the cult leader or the Mufti? Should we be frightened of the Mufti or the cult leader? That is the question. Now, I have made some comparison here in order to put this thing in perspective, because many people are reading about this fear of the Mufti in a very wild manner. Many of these writers, as well as people who are saying things against the Mufti and the Mufti bill, is building on what ifs and what ifs and what ifs without actually looking at the overall picture. Let's look at it very clearly in my analysis. Let's first look at appointment. Now, appointment of a politician-cleric is certainly by the party member election as well as the general election. Now, if in the general election he doesn't win, then he doesn't become that powerful. And if he does not win in the party election, also he will not become powerful. But once he wins both party election and the federal election, then he becomes a very powerful person. What about the cult leader? Cult leaders, as far as I know, there is no election. There's only appointment, meaning the previous leader will say, I dream of this person, or I think this person should be it, and things like that. And so that becomes appointed. What about the Mufti? Now, I'm sure the Mufti, having to be appointed, there must be some sort of committee, and perhaps set by the Sultan, or headed by the Sultan or by the Agong, and going through various discussions and channels, will then be appointed. So they are appointed by certain people, of which some of these people, maybe more than half, are not in the religious discipline. But of course, there are those also in the religious discipline. Now, what about remuneration? If we look at the politician-cleric, he or she will get money from donation, from the party membership, and he becomes a wakil rakyat, get money from the wakil rakyat. Becomes a minister, get money from ministership. If he's appointed to some sort of board here and board there, then also more money. So we can see that the politician-cleric has many sources of income. What about the cult leader? The cult leader, obviously, like the GISBH, they have their business and he gets the lion's share. Then there are also donation. People who are sympathizing with this religious group will give money, and that is also part of his income. Where do the income from the Mufti comes from? The Mufti comes from a fixed salary. And as a government servant, he cannot do business. He cannot accept donation. He cannot have money from unlimited sources. Tak boleh. That is not within the ethic and even the legal aspect of working as in a sense, a state civil servant. So, in all these three, who has the more power? The one that has unlimited sources of money, or the one that has a fixed source of money? We all know that money controls a lot of things. And so if you only have a fixed salary, what actually do you hold? Then we look at the termination. Who can terminate the politician-cleric? The party members can terminate, or the supreme, well, I think it's only the party members in an election. Let's say the election is 3 years or is being postponed to 5 years, then that is the termination period. Who terminates the cult leader? I don't think anybody can terminate the cult leader, only when the person dies. So it is for life. Who terminates the Mufti? If he's 60 years old, he goes into retirement. He's not supposed to be working anymore. So there is a fixed term. You leave. Unlike the cult leader, there's no fixed term. Even in fact, the party members, if they decide that a certain president should be there, like what they have, the Murshidul Am, and so they will be there at the leadership position until they die. So which of the three is more powerful? How can the Mufti be more powerful than the other two when he has a fixed term? So I don't understand what is the issue with the Mufti bill frightening people when you can be terminated by a simple, sorry, you're already 60 years old, thank you very much. Now, who is responsible to whom? The politician-cleric is answerable to the Supreme Council. Or if he views himself as a religious scholar and all that, then maybe he doesn't have anybody to answer to. A cult leader answers to no one. No one can advise him. He's the only one who says that he is in contact with God. Now, who does the Mufti answers to? He has to answer to the Sultan or to answer to the Agong. He cannot say that, well, this one is a revelation from God. No. If he says that, he will be terminated the next day. If a cult leader says that, he has more membership. Politician leader says something similar to that, then again, he has influence and perhaps increases membership. But not the Mufti. The Mufti starts saying something like that, then you will be terminated. So, who is more powerful if you were to think about it? Right, now, among the three, who can they influence? Meaning, whose life can they change? With regard to the politician-cleric, if they come into power, become prime minister, and also holds the parliament 2/3 majority, they can change all the people. Isn't it true? Cult leader can change the followers in all states, in all countries, and even it is said that the influence in Indonesia, Singapore, and even Sabah, Sarawak, all transnational. What about the Mufti? The Mufti is only responsible either one Mufti is responsible in the state, another Mufti in the federal territory. They don't have any other geographical influence. So who is more powerful? Why are we being frightened of one person who has so limited an influence? Then we talk about topics of discussion. If you are a politician-cleric and you hold parliament, you can talk about anything you want. You can make any law that you want. Same thing with the cult leader. The cult leader can declare anything and everything for him to talk about. What about the Mufti? The Mufti have to seek other scholars. The Mufti have to also seek the opinion of non-scholars who are leaders of the nation. And at the end of the day, the Agong or the Sultan will have the final say with regard to whatever is being discussed. So they have limitation, they have restrictions, and it is usually only on a religious aspect. So here we can see from this comparison, who is more dangerous? Is it the Mufti or is it the politician-cleric and the cult leader? Next we move into another topic. Who is panicking over the Mufti bill? I do not see Parti Islam Malaysia panicking. I don't see any comments by them, or I don't see any comments by UMNO. These are PAS, UMNO, and also Bersatu. I don't see any comment from their leadership on the Mufti bill. So a whole group of millions and millions of members who are Muslim are not panicking. Then we see the GPS and the GRS also not panicking, because for them, hey, the Mufti bill is for the federal territory. It's got nothing to do with them. They have their own Islamic laws that is governing their Muslims in Sabah and Sarawak. So they are satisfied with that. In the WhatsApp group that I have about Muslims, I don't see anybody raising this issue. None of my Muslim WhatsApp group people are, nobody, not the academics, no ordinary people, nobody. And then we look at the Muslims in the DAP, people like Sharizan, my friend Aziz Bari. They are not panicking. They're not panicking because they know it is simply an administrative issue and has nothing to do with what some other people are trying to spook the nation. And so the social media, when I glance through, there is no discussion, mostly among Muslims. The only person who is against this is the Asri Zainal Abidin. He is Mufti of Perlis. Has nothing to do with federal territory. But he is arguing about the references of the laws of Islam. Ashra'iyah, Martudiyah, whatever, which I also don't understand. And I don't really care, because I know my own sources of the hadith. But they have their own. So the point here is that the discussion is at the level of religious jurisprudence. So how can that broach into such things like the non-Muslim? So this is the. Finally, I would like to look at who is actually panicking. The ones that raise the issue is Zaid Ibrahim. The ones that raise the issue is Latifah Koya. Both these individuals have a history of not liking the Pakatan Harapan. So I'm not trying to accuse them of any political ulterior motive, but you should take note of that. Why is it that anything and everything to do with Pakatan Harapan, they will be up against it? Sisters in Islam, I respect them very much, and they have put out some statement which I think is very good, but they may not have a discussion with the people who had drafted the law. That one, I'm not really sure, and the idea of putting out statements without consulting the proper authorities, I think it's not something that should be encouraged. Then we see few non-Muslim columnists who's also always finding negative things about the unity government. You need to actually also look at that. And why are they writing? I mean, it doesn't really concern them. This is a Muslim concern. Some people say, what if this, what if that? that one is something that only the politician-cleric can answer, not the Mufti. The Mufti cannot do anything. If the politician-cleric holds two-third majority, then I will agree there will be a problem. But not with the Mufti. The Mufti has very limited powers, geography, people-wise, topic-wise, and they retire at the age of 60. And then we also look at some online media that loves to put out negative news to get a certain kind of viewership. So this is the thing that I have noticed with regard to this Mufti bill. So ultimately, I would just like to conclude in saying that for me, the politician-cleric is the most dangerous. The cult leader is even more so. But the Mufti is simply a salaried individual who will live at the age of 60. And a lot of the statements by those who are so-called against the Mufti bills are just saying things like, what if this and what. I've listened to all of them. They don't have any ground to stand on because they're just using what ifs. And those what ifs are always said in line with the media and not in a debate with the proper authorities. They're not in the debate. Neither Zaid Ibrahim or Latifah Koya is not in the debate. Neither Sisters in Islam also not in the debate. Clearly with the authorities. All they do is what if and what if. So these are the points that I wish to emphasize, and I hope the Malaysian public would look at this, especially the comparison that I have made, and rest assured that this Mufti bill for me is simply administrative. Muftis have so limited in power, limited in their geography, limited in their influence of Muslims only, and only those who do not understand Islam are spooked by it. Those who understand Islam knows that the Mufti is not a priest, but the politician-cleric and the cult leader, they always think that they are special. But the Muftis cannot think like that. If they did, then they will be out of the chair or out of the office. The cult leader can think that they are special, have some special relationship with God. Same thing with the politician-cleric, will be able to say those things to their members, but certainly not the Mufti. Mufti cannot say things like, I am a friend to God. That goes beyond his job scope and also religious scope. And all those who understand Islam knows this cannot be so, and we will be the check and balance against such things. With that, thank you very much.